Ireland has extensive peat resources. As much as 17% of the total land area of Ireland is classified as peatlands. For centuries, men dreamed of transforming these vast, barren wastes to serve the needs of the community. Now, those dreams have been realised, and Ireland's peat industry, under Bord Na Móna, that is the Irish Peat Development Authority, leads the way. Each year, on average, over 4 million tonnes of fuel peat is produced, both for electricity generation and industrial and domestic use. When the bogs have been surveyed to determine their suitability, the task of drainage begins, because bogs in their undeveloped state are 95% water. This drainage process takes between 5 and 7 years. When drainage is complete, the production process begins. These great peat milling machines of Bord Na Móna typify today's progressive and modern approach to peat production. With this process, the bog surface is first milled. This involves disturbing the top half inch or so and leaving behind a layer of powdered peat. Next, the loose powdered peat is harrowed to assist drying and then ridged into the center of each field. Finally, it is harvested into huge stockpiles where it remains until required. When the peat is harvested and stockpiled, heavy articulated steel rollers press the powdery peat into a firmer, compact shape to reduce the bulk for easier covering with polythene film and to provide some protection against wind damage and rain penetration. Milled peat is used for electricity generation and in briquette manufacture. The peat is transported directly from the bog by special narrow-gauge rail to power stations. On arrival, it is tipped from the wagons onto a conveyor system and on into the boilers. The Electricity Supply Board has, since 1950, built 8 peat-fired generating stations, and today, over 20% of the nation's electricity is generated from peat. The sod peat process is distinctly different from milled peat, in that the peat is scooped out of the bog by this giant excavator-type machine known as a bagger. The machine then macerates the peat and spreads it on the bog surface, cut into sods, to dry. Other machines follow and complete the harvesting process until the sods are finally collected, again by machine, and deposited into stockpiles ready for sale. Sod peat is used for domestic heating and cooking, as well as institutional and industrial heating. It is also used by the Electricity Supply Board for electricity generation. In all aspects of peat production, every single moment of good weather has to be utilized to the full, and that means that there is no halt to production, day or night. It's the same at this briquette factory, where milled peat is further dried and compressed into briquettes. Bord Na Móna operates 4 such factories, capable of producing 500,000 tons of briquettes each year. The briquettes are packaged into bales and sold direct to distributors for supply to retailers. Their popularity is enormous and demand is high. The bogs, however, will not last forever, and their future use has become one of the most interesting chapters in the history of their development. These grasslands are just one possibility. Other possibilities being studied include cattle and sheep farming. Further possibilities include vegetable production and cereals. There is also biomass, that is, short rotation forestry for energy purposes. Whatever the use or uses, one thing is certain. Bogs, when properly developed, can yield a valuable source of energy, and when cut away, can remain useful for posterity. This is the Irish experience.